Welcome to the Careers by Jen podcast, episode 272. This time on the podcast, Jen elaborates on 7 surprising career benefits of being kind. These surprising benefits are over and above the more obvious benefits, such as people wanting to speak with you and not getting fired.
You're listening to the Careers by Jen podcast. I'm your host, Jen Swanson. This is the podcast that helps you to get the job, love your work, and advance your career. Careers by Jen is a listener-sponsored podcast, and if you like the content, please consider supporting the show as a patron. You can do so for as little as $1 a month. Head over to CareersbyJenn.com and click on support to learn more. Dr. Bonnie Henry, our amazing provincial health officer here in BC, has a motto for the COVID-19 pandemic that's now on t-shirts and billboards and even on some fancy limited edition shoes that I tried for 4 hours to get, but I wasn't successful. Anyway, her motto is be kind, be calm, and be safe. Perfect advice for these times. And for all times, really. And today I wanted to share with you how the first of these suggestions, the be kind part, can have surprising career benefits. We'll be back right after this. Do you want someone to listen? Do you need help setting goals for yourself? Do you want someone to keep you accountable for your progress and to ask good questions that will help to move you toward your success? Have you got a resume that you want reviewed or updated? Do you need help deciding what kind of work you'd like to transition into? If any of these sound like you, I've got some coaching spaces open at Careers by Jen, and I would be happy to work with you to achieve your goals. From a single session resume review to multi-session career or life coaching, there are several packages to choose from. Go to CareersbyJenn.com, click on online programs, and you will see the coaching packages on the courses page. Select your package and let's get started on your future today. Jen here, and welcome to this podcast where I help you to get the job, love the work that you're already doing, and or advance your career. This show is recorded on the unceded and traditional territory of the Coast Salish people, including the Matsqui, the Kwantlen, the Katzie, the Semiahmoo, and the Stolo First Nations. Well, we had our Canadian Thanksgiving here this past weekend, and I'm grateful for the family gathering, although there were key people missing because we had to have a much smaller dinner than usual. Usually our house is full. Usually we have 20 plus people and a very big dining room table that extends all the way into the living room and lots of activity. But it was still very nice to see our loved ones and to spend time with them. I hope all of you who had a lovely celebration enjoyed it, and I know that those of you who are not in Canada will be looking forward to your Thanksgiving celebration in the coming weeks. If you're in the US, I know that you're having a Thanksgiving, and if you're somewhere else in the world, I'm not sure if you will be having a Thanksgiving or a celebration where you are grateful for the harvest, grateful for life. And if you are, let me know, because I'd really like to know what other cultures and countries celebrate the idea, at least, of being grateful for the earth's bounty. So if you'd like to share that, that would be great. It was good to have some time to reflect on being thankful. I have so much to be thankful for, even in the midst of the chaos of this time. And it was good to think about that a little bit. And that's what got me thinking about this topic of kindness. Because despite what goes on in the media and online, kindness still exists. You might not believe it, but it does. It's still present in many, many places. And it continues to be a powerful and sometimes surprising part of our human experience. And so today I wanted to share 7 surprising career benefits of being kind in your place of work. Now, I know there are lots of other really solid success traits like work ethic and initiative and motivation and such, but kindness doesn't always make the list. It doesn't always get the attention it deserves. It's not always listed as one of the key aspects of career success. It doesn't seem to fit even the language that is sometimes used in business, language like crushing the competition or whatever. I remember being interviewed on a podcast once with a title that was something like that, something like crush your competitor or crush your competition or something. I don't know. I don't have it right, the title right, but whatever it was very, very clear to me partway through the interview that I just did not fit the theme of the show or the style of guests that the host was used to interviewing. And I don't think she ever published my episode, which I'm fine with. I'm definitely not into stepping on people to climb to the top, or even the language crushing, whatever. I can't even remember what it was called. It doesn't matter. But whatever it was called, I didn't fit. It wasn't my style. And so to each their own, right? Like, I'm sure there were people that was their style, and that's why there was a podcast about it. But it's interesting. If you can feel it, if you don't fit into the ethos or the style of the situation or the place. And I was super okay with not being featured, because honestly, it would not have worked. And you might find yourself in a situation where how you operate just doesn't fit. And if you do, you'll know it. You'll know that there's a disconnect here or a values clash, and you'll be able to tell. And so I wouldn't have liked to have somebody like that on my show either. So it's all good. But it was an interesting experience. To be in that situation. And I would prefer to use kindness rather than to crush someone in my quest for success. There you go. All right. So what benefits can being kind in your career or your workplace have? Well, there are lots, but I wanted to share some that might not seem so obvious. I mean, they might be obvious to you, but they might not be. So here are 7. The first one is that being kind counteracts anxiety and stress. Now, it won't eliminate it, but when people are super stressed and anxious, they can sometimes get mean and say things that later they might feel bad about, they might regret. And so even if the situation is tense, and especially if the situation is tense that you find yourself in, kindness can help to make it a little less fraught, a little bit better. And often in a crisis, it's the tiny kindnesses that get remembered. I used to work in a hospital. I worked in a hospital for 23 years, and I often worked in places where people were anxious and stressed out, where there was tragedy, where there were crises happening, where, that trauma room the doors got thrown open and all hands were on deck because something awful was coming through the door, through the ambulance bay, right? There were lots and lots of situations that I worked in where there were awful things happening to people in their lives and sad things happening to people in their lives. And it was the little things. It was the extra little, here's a glass of water, here's a place to sit, here's a phone if you need it, these kinds of things that sometimes made a little bit of difference in an otherwise dark day. And so kindness in the workplace can touch people and can be remembered long after the crisis is over. So it helps with anxiety and with stress. It can help to take that edge off just a little bit. The second one that I want to share with you is that kindness gets you noticed. And that's not really the reason why you do it. It's not the point. It's not about being kind for show or as a strategy for success. That's just a little bit too calculated. But if you tend to be kind and do kind things consistently, people notice. your supervisors will notice. In some workplaces, there are even systems in place so that workers can be recognized for going that extra step, for helping out when they can, for going above and beyond. I think I already mentioned a workplace where they've got not during COVID, of course, but where when they were all working in offices, they had something called Thanks a Latte. And you could recommend somebody in your organization who helped you out and who was kind in the course of their workday. And you would mention that to the Human Resources Department, and the Human Resources Department would send them a coffee card that was redeemable at the coffee shop in the lobby, and it was for the amount of a latte. And so it was called Thanks a Latte. And the person who was recommended and the person who did the recommending both got, I don't know if it was a point system or what it was, but it looked really good during employee reviews if you received some of these, and HR kept track. And also if you took the time to thank someone and send them a coffee card and recognize that that person helped you. So that it actually fostered positivity and helpfulness and collegiality in the entire workplace. I think it's brilliant. I think it's a brilliant system. But you would definitely get noticed if you had a system in place. But even if you don't have a system in place, your supervisors will notice, your coworkers will notice. Now meanness gets noticed too, but typically not in a good way. Meanness is not a benefit to your career or your workplace or your organization or your team, but kindness can make a real difference. The third benefit of being kind in your workplace, the third benefit to your career, is that it can increase productivity and efficiency. When a workplace has a few or several kind people in it, the whole tone of the place works differently than if people are in fierce competition with each other and constantly trying to one-up each other and win, right? There's usually a good feeling in a place where people are working together. And when people enjoy what they do and who they do it with, studies have shown that productivity and efficiency increase, which helps everything in the organization, helps the bottom line, helps the atmosphere, and helps the service. Customers and clients are happier when those serving them are nice to each other and to them, to the customers and the clients. Now, of course, everyone has a bad day once in a while, and everyone can be cranky, and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about fake sweetness or some kind of corporate pretend attitude. We're talking about the kindnesses that come from wanting to make life just a little bit easier for someone else. And I really believe that kindness is an ingrained human trait, and that almost everyone has it in them, whether they exhibit it or not. Almost everyone has it in them to use this trait. I really do believe that. I don't think we can make a blanket statement. She's always unkind, or he's never kind. I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't believe that. But then I have a friend of mine called me pathologically positive. So there you go. The fourth thing that is a benefit is that kindness invites respect and promotes teamwork and collaboration. And I've already touched on that in one of the previous benefits here. But with supervisors noticing kindnesses and teams working together, I know personally that when someone is kind, even if they have high expectations and are tough about deadlines, etc., if they're kind, they tend to be respected. Think back to the teachers that you've had in your lifetime, in grade school, in public school, in college, in university, in trade school, anywhere you've had someone who is teaching you. Think back to the teachers that you've had Did you have one who was not very kind or not very nice or didn't seem to care? There are sometimes people like that, and teachers are people, right? They're all different kinds of people. There's less respect for those who are mean and unkind most of the time, right? There are nasty things said about them outside of the classroom, sometimes in the classroom. Now think about teachers that you loved. Think about the teachers that you loved, the teachers that you got the most out of, the ones that you remember all these years later if it's been a while since you've been in school. Right? The ones that may have been hard on you in some ways, who maybe had really high expectations because they believed in you. They knew that you could do something. And so they were pushing you a little bit to grow and to learn. And they expected a lot of you. That's a good teacher. That's somebody who wants you to learn and grow and develop. That's what made them such good teachers. Much of the time there was some level of kindness in there, which again would develop respect. Amidst the tough exterior or the high expectations, there was kindness and there was purpose underneath that. I know that my favorite teachers were those who cared and who wanted me to succeed and who went over and above in some cases and who were kind. And those are the ones I remember. So kindness invites respect, and it promotes teamwork, it promotes collaboration, and it promotes a desire to do well and to succeed. The fifth thing is that kindness opens up opportunity. You know the saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. That's true. And often it's the connections that you've made and the relationships that you've built and even the conversations that you've had. And the kind things that you've said or done are what will bring you to mind when an opportunity arises or a promotion is being considered. Your kind act or your words or your gesture might come back to invite you rather than come back to bite you, right? Will come back to invite you into a wonderful new opportunity down the road. You just don't know how far an impact being kind can have. And sometimes people will remember you because of it. And you won't even be aware of that. And that's amazing. So you may end up with opportunities because you are kind at work. The sixth thing is that it is good for your health. We are made up of energy. Our subatomic particles are moving bits of energy. And the emotions of kindness and love vibrate at a very different level than do negative energies. And some of us can feel the energy in a room when we walk into it. I know I can. Many of you may be able to feel the energy in a room when you walk into it. Maybe you know someone who is always or often negative or angry or upset, and you know how draining it is to be around somebody like that. Whereas someone who is upbeat and positive gives off a much lighter energy in some cases, and people are drawn to them. Now, sometimes even though people are angry and negative, they can still be kind, right? There's still kindness in there, but it's a different vibration sometimes. And if you are constantly thinking up ways to win or defeat someone else, if you are in constant competition and feeling stressed and upset and mad, you will physically begin to feel it. And this is not woo-woo stuff. I know that there have been recommendations that if you are feeling down, if you are feeling low energy, if you are feeling depressed, if you are feeling yucky and awful and stressed out, one of the best ways to get out of that is to do something kind for someone else, to go and do something for someone else. And that will open up your energy, that will boost your mood, that will kick in different hormones and will actually lift your mood. And so helping someone else, doing something for someone else is actually good for you. So the thing is, your thoughts trigger emotions, right? And emotions trigger hormones in your body. So your thoughts turn into actual physical manifestations in your body. And when you get stressed and upset and angry, your fight or flight hormones kick in, and your whole system goes into stress mode, meaning adrenaline is released and then eventually cortisol. And these are hormones that deal with stress and danger and then repair and recovery. And the cycle is fine from time to time, but being in that cycle constantly can have physical consequences, from heart disease to diabetes to cancer. And it's real. It's not fluff. It's real stuff. Significant stress and all that is associated with it is not good for your health. And so the kinder you can be to your own self and to those around you, the better the energy, the less fight or flight, the healthier your body. Now, we all experience stress sometimes, and that's just how life is, but we don't have to be there all of the time. And you can help yourself significantly by reducing some of the stress. Turn off the news. Don't look at social media. Don't read the comments. Go outside, pat your cat or play with your dog, call a friend, make another choice. Do something that's kind for yourself or for someone else. And if you practice that, you'll be kinder to others as well. Kindness is good for your health, and that can only be good, therefore, for your career as well. All right, I feel like I was on a soapbox there. Sorry. Here's the last thing. Kindness is contagious. It is the ripple effect. Have you ever had someone in the coffee shop lineup buy you a coffee or buy your drink for you? I have. That was so sweet. So I did that for someone else the next time I was in the coffee shop, right? Pass it on. Random acts of kindness. You can choose to be kind, and you can do it as an experiment. No one will know what you're doing. You can test it out on unsuspecting people and just see what comes of it. I bet you will be surprised at how well it will benefit you and your career. Our world is so troubled right now. There is so much division. There is so much anger. There is so much stress and fear and destruction and hate. And it doesn't have to be like this. It might feel, as it does for me sometimes, like there isn't much I can do about it. But I know that that's not true. I can affect my own part of the world by paying attention to how I behave and how I act and what I pay attention to and what I put my energy toward. How am I speaking to those I work with or interact with when I'm out and about, to the people that are serving me in the stores? How am I talking to my family and my loved ones? Am I being impatient and annoyed and snappy with them, or am I being calm and patient and kind? And I can make a difference knowing that it does have a ripple effect. And if a whole lot of us did that, what a different place we might be in, hey? What a different place we might be in. Dr. Bonnie Henry says, be kind, be calm, and be safe. And she says it every time she does a COVID update. Almost every day of the week during the weekdays in our province, she will end her COVID update as to what's going on in our province with that statement. Another wise and wonderful person, Mother Teresa, once said, "Kind words can be short and easy to speak, but their echoes are truly endless." So be kind to yourself, my friend. Be kind to you, and be kind to those around you. And may the echoes of your kindness ripple through your career and your life, surprising you with a great many wonderful benefits. Be well, and we'll talk to you next time. You've been listening to Careers by Jen with Jen Swanson. If you like what you heard, please share this. You know, if every single person listening today shared this episode with just one friend, our audience would be twice as big just like that. And the more people we can help with our content, the better. So help out a friend and help grow our audience by sharing this show with someone you know who would benefit from the content. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that, and together we can make a difference. Until next time, take good care.